guys, so today I have another book chat video for you today, so no makeup stuff. And I know these videos aren't super popular, but I do really like making them, and they're only every couple months, so I'm gonna keep doing them. So today's book chat video spans July through September. I realize that it's almost the end of October now, but I just hadn't really got around to doing this video, and yeah. So these are the books that I read. I don't have any of them with me. I only read 4 books. But yeah, I read most of these either on my e-reader or tablet or out of the library. So I don't actually have, well, I actually have one with me. But it is currently part of my tripod. So yeah, I'll just go through. I do have some notes written down, so if you see me looking down, I'm just checking on my notes. So the first one I want to talk about is The Cry of the Dove by Fadia Fakir, I hope. I'll put everything down here also in the description, and there'll be a picture of the book's cover right here. But The Cry of the Dove was a good book. I definitely enjoyed it as much as I could because it is not a happy book. It's not fun, it's not light, it's not really a summer read, which is when I chose to read it, of course. But it was very interesting. It's basically about this woman from a Bedouin tribe. It never says specifically where she's from, just that she's sort of from a very rural community. And she's forced to flee her home and her family to save her own life after she becomes pregnant, basically out of marriage. So the novel's the story about this poor young woman and her struggles to create a new life in England, because she eventually moves to England. It's told in a really interesting way because it sort of bounces around from like the past to like even further in the past to the present to like, oh, and in the future this happens. So it can be a little hard to follow, so you have to really pay attention when you're reading it, but I do think it is worth sort of fighting through. It is very interesting, if depressing. Look into like another culture and perspective, especially if you don't have a lot of experience or knowledge of sort of Muslim religion or Muslim communities. And this isn't like set in like Iraq or Iran or Afghanistan, somewhere you might know a little bit about. Like even like I don't really know any more about that than I know about Bedouin people. But yeah, so it's really interesting look into just another culture, getting another look at life. So it does jump around and get a little bit confusing, but the confusingness kind of makes sense for this particular book because the protagonist is very troubled. She's like conflicted. She clearly her survival instinct is kicked in because she's moved to England. She's trying to keep going with her life, but she wants to go back, right? And it's like, this isn't home, it'll never be home, but she tries to make it that way. And so it makes sense, right? She keeps thinking about home, she keeps thinking about the past, she keeps thinking about things that happened. So it's like, that's why the story jumps around so much. And it is told by her. The main character, the protagonist, is also the narrator, so she's a very untrustworthy narrator. But that's part of what makes this book so interesting, in my opinion. And I am trying to keep these blurbs a lot shorter than usual because I really get into them when I'm doing them, and these videos get very long. And this is only 4 books long, so really this should be like under 10 minutes. So I'm going to try and keep it that way. So the second book I read was My Drunk Kitchen by Hannah Hart. If you have no idea who Hannah Hart is, then what are you doing? Google it. Hannah Hart, who is Harto, or Hartu on YouTube, is amazing. She's just funny. She's been on YouTube forever, and yeah, she's just really fun. She does My Drunk Kitchen is a big part of her videos. Basically she drinks and sort of shittily makes a recipe while injecting like random philosophy and like life advice into it, and it's really fun and it's really cute and it's really funny. So I kind of just discovered Hannah a little while ago, admittedly. Like, I shouldn't get too bad on you if you haven't heard of Hannah before, but she is awesome. Basically, I discovered her videos a few months ago. I fell in love with her, and I had to read her book once I found out that it existed. It's basically set up like a recipe book, It's in sections divided like in recipe books, like you have meats and soups and salads. And so she does something sort of similar, and each little piece of advice is set up like a recipe, and that's how she sort of introduces the problem or the idea that she's going to talk about. But really reading the whole book is kind of like just having a chat with Hannah Hart about life, about love, about being the best you that you can be, and it was just a lot of fun to read. It was a really, really quick read. Full of pictures, it's funny, it's cheeky, and if you like her videos, like if you already know who she is, then you'll probably love this book. If you've never watched her videos, go watch it. If you love the videos, read the book. And yeah, this book was awesome, and I really, really recommend it. Much lighter than Cry of the Dove. So another book I read, and I think I mentioned that I read The Hobbit with my boyfriend in my last video. We also moved on to Lord of the Rings, and we finished The Fellowship of the Ring. I think it was just in September, possibly August. So yeah, I know I've talked about Lord of the Rings before, about how much I love them. So I am a huge Lord of the Rings fangirl. I love Tolkien, I love Lord of the Rings. This is like my comfort zone, is Lord of the Rings. So obviously I absolutely love the book. Reading it again, probably the third or fourth time that I've read it. I can't really remember, but I've read it numerous times, but it was really cool reading it with my boyfriend just because we switch off pages, so you get to sort of like read it through somebody else's eyes, which is kind of new. But yeah, I don't really want to go on too much about it. You probably already know about the Lord of the Rings. You've probably seen the movies. If not, you've probably heard about the movies. And yeah, it's just this big epic fantasy adventure, and if you've never heard about it, you should Google it. It's really, really good. If you like fantasy, you should read it. I will link my last book chat that I mentioned Lord of the Rings in down below. If you want to hear my fangirling, you can go watch that video. It'll take a while, but basically, too long didn't read the Lord of the Rings. And then finally, I'm going to talk about manga. 2 volumes of manga, so I guess technically I read 5 books, I guess. But manga takes a very short time to read. I think there was maybe 35 chapters, so few hours you'd be done. But the manga is called Girlfriends, and it was written by Milk Morinaga. Yes, manga, if you don't know, is a Japanese comic book, essentially. It is read from back to front, like Japanese is read from right to left. And this is basically a lesbian romance manga, which, if you are familiar with anime and manga, might creep you out and be like, oh, is this Yuri? Oh, is this creepy? Is this like really sexual? It's not. There is a little bit of sexuality in it, but there's a little bit of sexuality in our movies and our YA novels. I really don't think this is that creepy. It was really, really cute. It was basically this novel of these 2 girls both coming to grips with their like sexuality, with their feelings towards each other, and like the struggle of being in a society that doesn't accept homosexuality, where this is their feelings, right? Like, basically these 2 girls are in love, and they have to accept that and find a way to work it into their lives. And yeah, it was a really cute manga, really easy to read. So I'm probably going to leave the harsh cut in there, where it just cuts me off in mid-sentence because my camera died. And that was forever ago. I've been charging the camera. I don't really know what I was saying anymore, but I know I was trying to finish up talking about Girlfriends. So yeah, like I said, I don't know where I am. But basically, it's just a really cute manga. If you already know you like manga, I suggest you read it, unless it sounds like it's something that's really not your thing. But if you've never read manga, then I would give it a go. It's very short. You'll probably know within a couple chapters if you can get used to the style or if you'll enjoy it. But yeah, it's a really quick read, and it's something different, and it's really cute. And again, kind of another different culture thing, right? This one's set in Japan, so it's definitely a little bit different from American, Canadian, UK, Australian culture, wherever you're from. I think those are probably like my main demographics. I have a lot of Australian and New Zealand viewers. A lot for some reason, but I watch a lot of New Zealand and Australian people, so I guess that's normal, I guess. But yeah, basically those were the 4 books that I read from July through September. I am way behind on my GoodReads goal. I set my goal at 42 books for the year, and I've read 11. I'm 21 books behind for like this week that I'm in right now. So I'm probably going to have to make my goal smaller so that I don't fail. But yeah, basically if you want to be friends with me on GoodReads, I will link my GoodReads down below like I always do. So feel free to add me on GoodReads if you have a GoodReads as well. I will also link all of the books down below. And yeah, that's about it for this video. Let me know what books you've been reading and enjoying, what your favorite books are, what your favorite manga are. And also, if you've read any of these books, let me know what you thought about them. I would love to have a bit of a chat with you guys in the comments. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you like the book videos. It's always good to know. And subscribe to see more videos from me, and I will see you in my next one. Bye guys!